Hello everybody, welcome back. Thanks for checking back in. I got a great story for you today. I just wanted to show you my nice, awesome Halloween lights first. They're going to be coming up in every video now, I'm hoping, if I can get them set up right. Today's story is the man who escaped from hell. Starts off with Clifford Hoyt. He lived over in Maryland. Clifford Hoyt was a 31-year-old man. On December 5th, 1999, he tried merging onto Maple Grove Highway and was T-boned horribly. It was a disastrous crash. Everybody almost died. Clifford himself, he dragged himself out in the middle of the road and passed out due to blood loss and things like that. Not even a few minutes later, an actual trucker happened to see him on the road when he was driving through, and he stopped to take him to the hospital. Upon arriving at the hospital, they found out that Clifford had slipped into a coma from all the internal bleeding and the impact and everything else. One night after Clifford had woken up from his coma, some of the nurses had heard some knocking on the walls, strange sounds, noises, voices, things like that. So they went to check on him and they found him completely unhinged, just completely a mess in his cell, in his old padded room over there. While going through this horrible manic state, it took at least several people to get some pain reliever administered, something to calm him down, and everything like that. Once he was calmed down and he was completely lucid, telling them that he had arms that were chasing him and that he was in hell the entire time that he was in a coma. The craziest part is, even with this testimonial, talking about being in hell for any amount of time, with arms chasing you and everything smelling like sulfur and death and just horribleness, the people actually believed him because he was so coherent. Even though he was on pain medication and things like that, his descriptions and his details and things like that, they were so on point, they were so clear to him that they thought that it couldn't just be the medication that was messing with him. Even with all this stuff happening though, he refused counseling and he checked himself out a few days later after recovering. A couple weeks later, police get a phone call about basically a noise complaint, music playing in an apartment, way too loud, too late at night kind of deal. So they show up, they find out it's Clifford Hoyt's apartment. So they contact the landlord, he comes up and unlocks the door thinking that they couldn't hear him because of all the music. Well, when they opened the door, it wasn't good. The landlord took these photos that I will put up here for you. What they found was Clifford laying in the middle of his apartment floor, hugging a giant block of ice because it helped calm down the fires of hell that he was so used to feeling. In his entire apartment, not his entire apartment, but a good 3/4 of it, it was just an absolute disaster. Human excrement everywhere, dirt nobody had cleaned up in probably weeks. Clifford was also completely lucid. He was completely normal. He was aware of everything that he was doing during this time. And to him it made sense because he was warding off hell and the demons trying to drag him back down. With all of that happening, his family really had no choice. The landlord turned the pictures and the story into the police. And yeah, the family really had no choice but to have him basically committed into a psychiatric hospital, to have him checked out and monitored, since he obviously can't live on his own. Doctors stand by that he acquired brain injury during the accident, and that's what has caused all of these crazy manic episodes, and yeah. But some of the nurses and some of the other staff, they actually believed him because of how passionate he was and the things that he was talking about and the detail that he could describe them in. But he's still in the hospital. He's still in psychiatric care, trying to deal with it, still fighting off demons. Thanks for joining me. If you guys have any awesome stories or things like that you'd like me to report on, send them in. I've got all kinds of things, all kinds of different avenues that you guys can get a hold of me. Facebook group, Twitter, YouTube, right here. Just comment it right down below. Boop.